Portland Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with Shaggy TV. And we're up in my neck of the woods again, up here in Pennsylvania here. Sarverville, PA. Or Sarver, PA, excuse me. At Lernerville Speedway here is... Whoa, who ramped out on the track? Was that Jim Bowie? Let's go find. He gave us a nice little show there. That was Jim Bowie in the 058. Big field here tonight for the retreads. Jeff Barker's in the room. He hasn't put a lap in yet, so that's 18 cars. One of the larger sized fields we've had in the retreads here since we started doing the broadcast. So anxious to see what that brings. You got to keep an eye out. I don't think he's on the track right now. No, he's sitting over there in the pits. Can we get a better view there? This guy, the librarian, Pat Boyce, he's top of the speed charts. I've been watching him rip the lip. He's had a lot of speed. Terry Landis as well, sitting a couple pit stalls down. That guy's, he's always tough to tame here. Let's see if we can get a cam on another guy we need to keep our eye on here, Dean Reynolds. I mean, anytime you put him in something with a wing in it, he's been fast here. Look at him just running as high as he can outside. He's really trying to get all of it here. I mean, this is the time to experiment. You see him there. He drops down in the middle going in turn 2. And you really got to flirt with different lines. Maybe it's the high side 3 and 4, bottom 1 and 2. Maybe it's a slider in both lines. And, you know, with this being quick here, and I believe the retreads here on dirt, almost certain. No qualifying, that it's just a luck of the draw deal here, unless they've changed it. So you really, you know, got to go out here and experiment. You never know what line you're going to be trapped in, and you can't bail yourself out with a good qualifying lap. So just different things going through your mind out here. Is Greg Boydell in the 014. He's running a similar line to Dean Reynolds here. 1 and 2, he's going to stay right up against the outside. 3 and 4, a little more of the same as you see him dip that right rear over the edge. And, well, we're back into turn 1 here. Is probably going to screw around with a lot of these stationary cams here this evening. If you don't like it, let me know out there in the chat box. But, boy, I've been playing around with my cameras, and I like those TV static cameras. Here, warm-ups is over. And I was correct. No qualifying, just the luck of the draw here. And it looks like the man who got lucky here, starting on the pole here for heat number 1, the 70 of Mike Cramner, into his outside in the 63, Shaker Gerdeman. Inside of row number 2, the 7 of Bob DeGood, into his outside, the 014 of GJ Boydell. Inside of row number 2, Brian Moore Sr., who had a great run last night in the Rebels and made it up to the Renegades, had a little bit of misfortune there, involved in an accident, but looked very fast last night at USA Speedway. He's going to roll off 5th in the 558. And his outside in that 888 machine, Stephen Maurer. This pace car, yes, it will be rolling off here, and Mike Cramner will get ready to take the green flag. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. Let's go play at Lernerville Speedway. Mike Cramner in the 70 here, feeling the heat from the outside and the low side. Is Bob DeGood in the 7 trying to make a big early run here. He's got that blue Napa machine rolling on the bottom, but that 63 is Shaker Gerdeman really trying to make that outside roll. Oh, somebody there, Steve Maurer, stuck on the inside, so tough break for him, but out front, Bob DeGood setting the pace, really trying to roll away here, 4 to go in that 7 machine. Shaker Gerdeman comfortably in second right now, just trying to roll the outside, get momentum, maybe trying to come back here, Bob, but he goes over the edge. That's all she wrote for Shaker Gerdeman. As he rolls, he does end up on 4 wheels, so he may be able to get back out, but P2, that's gone. Mike Cramner looks to have 3rd pretty much soundly here. Shaker Gerdeman, he is going to exit the track. Going to finish there with a P4 as Brian Moore Sr. and Steve Maurer suffered misfortunes as well. But 1.5 more times around here for the Napa number 7 as GJ Boydell has closed in. He's got 1 more lap. Is he close enough to make a move here? He's right on the tail tank of that 7. He looks low through 1 and 2. Final time coming through 3 and 4. He's going to send it in there. He's going to get in front of the 7. And GJ Boydell is going to be your heat race number 1 winner. Really stole that from Bob DeGood. Bob, you got to wonder, maybe he took it a little too easy there that last lap or two. And GJ able to go steal it. And Mike Cramner going to round out the top 3 there. Heat race number 2 is going to look a little something like this. Is starting on the pole, we've got the mayor, Steve Bixler, into his outside. The Desert Demon, Old Smoky Terry Landis. Inside of row number 2, the 94 of Gary Offit into his outside. Dino in the 79, Dean Reynolds. Inside of row number 3, the 513 of the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker into his outside in the number 4. Greg Parmalee. Here's we'll see. Dino, let's see. Dino might try to give us a wheelie. Nope. He maybe did a little bit. Just couldn't get it to bounce up. The 79, he's a showman. You know, in his heart of hearts, Super Dirt Car Series owner there. He wants to put on a show. So Dino goes out and does that every race he's in. But right now the mare here, Steve Bixler, looking to lead us to the green flag. 6 laps as we go play in the clay at Lernerville Speedway. Heat race number 2 underway. Terry Landis here trying to make that outside roll. Dino trying to do the same as well. Gary Offit there on the inside in that 94 trying to make a charge. Terry goes up there, gets into the back of the mare, and 2 got wiped out there in 1 accident, and Dino inherits the lead. Tough break for the mare. Dean Reynolds here trying to get comfortable on the outside. Doesn't need to do too much. Has almost a second lead over the 94. Who's starting to feel some pressure here. Jeff Barker, he was gaining on him. Gets a little sideways there in the middle of 1 and 2. Just loses the rear end. Now this is where, if you're Jeff, you maybe, if you want to still be aggressive on the throttle, you click that wing back a little bit. You set the rear end. You're maybe not going to have that speed down the straights, but you're going to feel a whole lot more comfortable in the center of the corner. That, or you got to go up and plant that right rear on the cushion. And some guys just don't want to do that, as it's not very comfortable running the high side here. It's real dangerous. Going through 3 and 4. Dino looking to get that white flag. It's in the air one more time around for Dean Reynolds. Let's see here. It looks like possibly we're back. Noticed I had a stream lag issue there. We're going to see if it's coming back here. My alert told me in the bottom that it did come back. I must have had a quick drop out. That's no good. But yes, it does look like, okay, cool. I had to pull it up. Sorry about me just rambling on here. Quick flash of the internet here, and it looks like we are back. I can see I'm a little behind on YouTube. Sorry about that delay. But we'll pop up the grid here. We're going to run through it real quick. Pat Boyce, the librarian on the pole. The Bassman is outside. Gary Siegelcow, P3. Roger Shank going to start 4th. JR, John Rayner on the inside of row number 3. And Jim Bowie rounds out the field. As we did not get that finish there. You saw it lagged. It looked like the field was pretty much set, but we'll be able to run back and try to get a little better view of that. Here is heat race number 3 underway. Pat Boyce lagging this time, not me, because I see all the other cars on the track. But right now, Jim Bowie and John Rayner. Jim Bowie there got a free... John Rayner might have to charge him a tow bill later. He towed him pretty far down the track. We've had a lot go on here. Roger Craig, and it looked like somehow was in an incident there with Roger Shank. Or Gary Siegelcow, excuse me. Roger Shank moved up to P2 here. He's the big mover up 2 spots. Pat Boyce, though, you see that lead. I mean, with 3 to go, only halfway, he's got a straightaway lead. Looks to have this thing locked up. Roger Craig just rolling in. JR here, John Rayner. It looks like he's pretty close to possibly going a lap down. I mean, we could sit here in turn 1 and keep rotating these guys and watch the race. That's how spread out they are right now. But Pat Boyce coming through 3 and 4. Looking to get the white flag here. Final time around for the 41. The librarian here really took the guys to school in heat race number 3 as he rolls through 3 and 4 for the final time. Pat Boyce is your heat race number 3 winner, followed by Roger Shank. Here comes Roger Craig, the Bassman. And here comes JR, John Rayner. As Pat Boyce, with the misfortunes of other drivers, really built up quite the lead. Roger Shank here in his debut, I believe, for Old Timers Tuesday. Finishes P2. Got to be happy with that. And with that, we're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And we'll be right back with more after this.
Time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get right when we talked about it.
As we are back on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, got a little over 30 seconds here left in warm-ups right now. The Desert Demon Terry Landis, he's on top of those speed charts here with a 14:11. Gary Offit in that 94 P2. Brian Morse Sr. They're rounding out the top three. Definitely a lot of guys you got to keep your eye on here. You know, Roger Craig's been a big improvement. Right as I say that, there he jumps up to P5. Jeff Barker, that 513, got to keep your eye on him. That's 79. Dean Reynolds, if he can keep it on the racing surface here tonight, that 79 is gonna be a lot of trouble here. Had a lot of speed anytime you've put a wing on the car and taken the fenders off. So he's figured something out, and he's continued to roll with it, so we'll have to see if he can do it once again here this evening. As I clicked the wrong button there. I'm going to hide that. We bring up the starting grid here for tonight's first feature, sponsored by Mauer Farm Management. It looks a little something like this. Starting on the pole, the 014 of G.J. Boydell, into his outside, Dean Reynolds. Inside of row number 2, the 41 of Pat Boyce, into his outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Inside of row number 3, the 94 of Gary Offit, into his outside, the new dog in town, the 950 of Roger Shank. Inside of row number 4, the 70 of Mike Cramner, into his outside, in the 513, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. Inside of row number 5, the 747 of Roger Craig, into his outside in the 53, Shaker Gerdeman. Greg Parmalee in the 94 rolls off on the inside of row number 6, into his outside, John Rayner. Brian Morris Sr. rolls off on the inside of row number 7, into his outside, the Mayor, Steve Bixler. Gary Sigelkow rolls off on the inside of row number 8 in the 25, and is outside in that 888. Steve Mauer. Rounding out the field this evening, the Desert Demon, Old Smoky, Terry Landis. In that 161, into his outside in the 058, Jim Bowie. It is feature time. We go down the backstretch one more time as the pace car rolls off. And G.J. Boydell looks to bring us to the green flag. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. Let's go play in the clay at Lernerville Speedway. Dino with an excellent jump here as we watch everyone roll by here. Gets a little loose there on the outside of 2. Almost gets into a little contact with the 014 as Shaker Gerdeman. Gary Offit. Oh, John Rayner, JR involved in that, but caution is out, actually. We're going to get the caution here. As I would have known that if I wasn't being a rookie here. Forgot to bring that back up. I get to see it. You guys don't. Frustrating, Shaggy. Apologies there. But caution is out. And we are going to go find it. We saw the start of it there. Rolling through 1 and 2. Let's follow Shaker Gerdeman here. We're going to try to find that Chapman Racing drone camera here. That 63, the blue and white up top. Keep an eye on him. So you see Jeff Barker got into the new guy there. John Rayner with nowhere to go. I mean, it was just a stack up. And oh, they hit again. He loops over and shoots back to the mythical. We got the mythical tow truck and shoots back to pit road. Here is early caution, and with that, Greg Boydell going to get to go back out front here as the field will reset. Didn't get a full lap in, so the 014 of GJ Boydell still your leader. Oh, nice to... So Rhonda out there rooting for Roger and Shank. And Bill Calder, he just missed it. He's going to be here for the truck. So good to hear, Bill. Love seeing you out here. You know this. I've told you. You're one of my favorite people in here by far. League wouldn't be the same without you, Bill. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. We're back racing here at Lernerville Speedway. Dean Reynolds timed that perfect. They make a little bit of contact, but he's battling hard for the lead as they go down the backstretch. Dino in the 79 going to throw a slider, going to park it up there in 3 and 4, plenty of room. Greg Boydell not even going to be able to answer back here. As Pat Boyce, he's trying to get a run, trying to throw a little bit of pressure here. Caution is out, though, once again. See if we can figure out who was involved. Looking like... Man, this could have been a lot of people here, actually. From what I'm seeing. Let's go. Let's see if it... Okay, so it did start a little bit earlier than that. Let's go back here. Okay, so let's keep an eye on the 513 of Jeff Barker. Oh, Roger Craig and Mike Cramner get into it. You saw there. Jeff, then, is he involved in another incident? No, he must have just got nicked there. But let's go back and we'll find Roger Craig here. So Roger, he's there. Mike, the 70's coming down. Doesn't realize that Roger's got that run. And, you know, that's as much of a racing deal as you can call. I mean, just two guys fighting for the same territory here. Tough break. As the lights go off and the 79 of Dean Reynolds looks to bring us back racing here at Lernerville. Field's still got most of the drivers out there, but man, at this pace, the field may whittle down here if people don't settle down as Dino gets ready to bring us back to the third green flag here of the night. The 79 with an excellent jump there on the bottom. Let's watch from up top here as they try to enter 3 wide. Think about exiting 3 wide here. Terry Landis on the bottom. He goes up, gets into Bob the Good a little bit. Bob the Good up and over, and caution is out. More people join the up and over party there as Roger Shank, Gary Sigelkow. There's my, oh my, cautions once again here at Lernerville. We're going to go back and we saw it happen live. We'll get the aerial camera here of it. But he just makes a little bit of contact here with the 161. So it looks like, you know, Terry is coming up right as Bob does straighten out. I mean, he was straight at that point, but Terry probably didn't realize that he got loose. He goes over. Now we're watching Gary Sigelkow. He goes over all by himself. The new guy, Roger Shank, he gets someone a little sideways in front of him. He bicycles off the right rear and he goes over. So 3 separate incidents, and they all end up in the grass above turn 4. Lights are still on, so we're not getting ready to go back green just yet here. Dino, take us around one more time. You know, only a couple guys rolling that far outside. I always like to do that in there on the warm-up lap. Especially, you saw Terry Landis, he was one of those guys. He's going to start on the outside. make yourself familiar with that area. Plant that right rear up as high as you feel comfortable, and just set yourself up with as much chance of success here on the restart as you can. Is the 79. He's been tough to tame out front. Not a long green flag run here, but we're back underway once again. Ooh, Pat Boyce gets sideways, comes down, gets into the 513 of Jeff Barker. Now he comes down and gets into the 4 of Gary Offit as they both go up and over. Caution out once again here. We go back and try and find a little better view of this here. Is we're gonna find Pat Boyce in this situation here, because we see he gets sideways, comes down, he gets into Barker. Little bit of a touch there. Now, can we get up top in time? Yeah, he just comes down and gets into him, and nowhere for that, I believe, Greg Parmalee. Yeah, nowhere for Greg to go there, as he just has to tow. So tough break. Is guys need to settle down here, as we've got a long way to go. 19 laps still left, so plenty of time to get your passing done. Need to relax here on these restarts and realize that, hey, maybe you're not going to get them all at once. And, at the same time, if you make a little hiccup on the outside, it's not the end of the world. You got a bunch of laps here to make it back, so no need to get super defensive here early on. Just kind of let the race come to you. Track's going to change. Track's going to develop here, so just got to make sure you feel good and let it come to you. That's not the view we wanted. There we go. The 79 looks to bring us to the green flag here for the third time. 4th restart, but his third time leading us to it, and we're back underway here at Lernerville Speedway. Brian Moore Sr. moving up to P2, able to get around Greg Boydell, making good use of that double file restart. Goes back to the bottom in 3 and 4. Pulls out even there with the tail tank. Not enough to get by just yet, but there he goes through 1 and 2. Still a lot left on the bottom. Brian Moore Sr., I told you he ran well last night. Well, he must have brought the same ride. He's running well again. Terry Landis with a little hiccup through 3. We're under caution once again. See here if it's Shaker Gerderman, possibly, is what I'm seeing. Now side by side, he cleared Mike Cramner. Goes off over. Caution is out. Right now, Brian Moore Sr. able to get up to the front there in that 558 machine. He's had a lot of speed, and it hasn't just been in the Open Series. These are fixed setups. I mean, showing he can drive anything you put him in. Brian Moore Sr. really honing in on the craft here. He's gotten a lot better in these wing sprints. Roll down the backstretch here. We should get the 1 to go as we come by the line this time. Won't hold me to that, but I think we'll see these pace lights go off. Yes, they did right at the end. Drivers are going to line up double file, and we're going to give it one more try here. We've had 5 cautions. This will be our... counting the green flag drop, this will be our 6th restart here, so drivers have had plenty of practice here with the restarts tonight. But new leader here bringing us to the green flag, Brian Moore Sr. We're back underway. Terry Landis trying to go by Dean Reynolds, and he does just that. But man, oh man, caution out once again here is, Terry, you see him there speeded up out of 3 and 4. You can just smell the frustration. He wants to go. He's ready to go race. And caution is out. It's got to give that spot back to Dino. We are going to go back and see if we can't find out what happened. I think John Rayner, possibly Bob DeGood involved. So let's see here. John Rayner is in the bottom. Looks like he might get a little kiss here from the mayor. He does. Comes up the track. Bob DeGood in that 7 with absolutely nowhere to go. Creams the left rear, and 2 cars around in 1 and 2. Shaker Gerdeman then gets involved. Caution's going to come out. Trying to go back live here. My apologies. There we go. Brian Moore Sr. looks to bring us to the green flag here once again as the lights go off. Not halfway just yet. We'll have 15 to go when we take the green flag. So let's go up to, actually, let's see what this one looks like. We're going to slam this on Dean Reynolds here. Let's follow these guys from the chopper here as take this restart. Back underway, 15 to go. Pretty good restart there for Dino. Not able to get down to the bottom, and Terry Landis is going to go down there searching real quick. It's a good run out of 2. They're side by side as they go into 3. Just trying to power around that outside, but right now the cushion is so thin and there's still some tack left on the bottom. That Desert Demon, Terry Landis, and Brian Moore Sr., they are making it work as Gary Siegelcow goes over the edge in 1 and 2. No caution just yet. Hopefully we stay green. 13 to go. Terry Landis here, he's trying to set up Brian. Gonna move high, go back low, trying to find a way to go around here. And the Desert Demon finds his way around as he moves up the P1. Coming up on lap traffic, though, that's 7 of Bob DeGood. Is Dean Reynolds here. He's coming under the heat of the 513 of Jeff Barker. The Brewerton Beast on the bottom moves his way up into that final podium spot. Is right now, it seems like the bottom is where you want to be. The 014 of Greg Boydell, he almost makes it 3 wide here for a second. As Bob DeGood, that was him going off the track back into the pits here. Dino trying to come back right now at the 513. He's gotten the high side to work a little bit better here. Maybe the bottom's starting to go away a little bit. They may be running that too thin. Let's go back out front. Terry Landis, he's got to get the lawnmower out here to lap the 70 of Mike Cranmer. Wasn't much room, but he found a groove down there. Let's see what happens to the 558. The 70 of Mike Cranmer going to move up the track as of now. Runs that middle in 1 and 2, gives him a lane, and he rolls on by. Jeff Barker now pulling away from the 79, of Dean Reynolds. Here a little contact with Mike Cranmer, and now all of a sudden, Dean Reynolds moves himself back into that final transfer spot. Dean Reynolds here on the outside of Jeff Barker. They got a lapper in the middle. He slides up in front of Dino. Good job of getting out of the way. Dino, good job of missing him here. Is battle heating up here. This is the battle on track here for third. Oh, Dino gets into the lap car of John Rayner. Here's John Rayner. What's he supposed to do? He's holding his line. I know Dino's got to be a little frustrated there. He's getting the top to roll, but John Rayner, that's doing all he can do. And right now, Terry Landis, is doing all that anybody can do. Out front with a convincing lead here as we watch him roll the bottom. Everybody else, the front, rolling the bottom. But where is the caution? Where is the caution? Let's figure out what happened here. Is I believe possibly Shaker Gerderman involved? Or, no, this would have been... Let's go back here. Let's find Shaker Gerderman here. Is he still on the track at this point? So, yeah, it is. It's, he probably came to a stop here, didn't want to pull out in front of cars, and whenever you go a little too slow there coming out, caution will come out. That was right at the yellow flag point, so that's the culprit. No harm, no foul. You live and you learn. But, man, they finally got that green flag racing underway, and it was a good show here. Terry Landis able to come from the back to the front tonight. And, you know, that's actually something that just registered in my mind here. That man, Terry Landis, in that 161, the back row for him tonight. Bad luck in his heat race. Had to start dead last on the field. Or inside row. Or inside in the last row, excuse me. So not dead last here. What did he get? He started 17th out of 18 cars. But still, that back row. And it's past 16 guys to get up to P1. So big mover Terry Landis. And the second biggest mover right behind him is Brian Moore Sr. up 11 spots as well. So Brian Moore Sr. started 13th. Up to second. Good run for that 558 as we get ready to go back racing here at Lernerville. We'll have 3 to go this time by as Terry Landis brings us back underway here. 3 more times around for the 161. We're going to stay up front. Brian Moore Sr. with a big send. Gets into Terry Landis. No caution. No. But looky who, Dino... Man, he just pulled the rabbit out of the hat here, and he goes from 4th to 1st here, goes around with all the trouble there for Barker, looking to take the white flag. No, caution is out. They throw the caution. Shaker Gerderman again, I believe. Let's see here if we can find it. We don't want to click on Dino. We're trying to click on Shaker. There we go, and that's 63. Let's see what happens here. So the 70 of Mike Cramner gets into the back of him. You can see it coming. And the 63 goes around, and ooh, this doesn't look good for Shank. This doesn't look good for Shank. It looks good for Shank. Good wreck avoidance there by Roger Shank. It looked like he was going to be involved in that, but caution out once again. Shaker Gerderman gets turned around. We're going to see here. We're not 1 to green yet. This green flag. We're going to see if we can go back. We're going to take a look. We're going to go in the blimp camera here. The contact here between Terry Landis and Brian Moore Sr. As Brian Moore, he is hooking up on the bottom, but you got to realize that Terry Landis, I mean, he's been running the bottom. Yeah, he missed entry a little bit there, but that's too far of a send. And, I mean, that's something Terry Landis, he's probably not going to be very happy about. Let's see here. Should be getting a green-white checkered, I believe, here. The 79 brings us back to the green flag once again. 2 to go. Tough restart there for Steven Bixler as Greg Boydell immediately looks to the outside. But look you, the Bass man, Roger Craig. He's reeling in the leaders here. He moves up to that podium spot. White flag in the air. Final time around for Dean Reynolds. Let's watch him roll off into 3 here. Dean Reynolds with a big lead. Oh, Roger Craig and Greg Boydell with a little bit of contact. Let's watch the race to the line. Dino gets it. Greg Boydell holds onto that final podium spot as Terry Landis rolls on the lid, and he is going to come short of the finish line, I believe. That's not right. But man, oh man, Dean Reynolds there. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and he got it. Able to win this thing. Steven Bixler comes home P2. And Greg Boydell stealing that third and final transfer spot. Let's go back while these guys catch their breath here. Let's go back and let's look at this white flag lap here. So this is coming out of 3 and 4. Race first and second. We know what happened there, but... Oh, whoops. Okay, so that may have been our wrong white flag. Before we got the caution, excuse me, SDK gives me 2 of them, because we ended up getting a green-white checkered attempt. So let's watch this here. Let's watch the battle for third. Roger Craig slips up a little bit in the middle of 1 and 2. Boydell with a big run, maybe floats up a little bit too much, gets into the 747. And Roger with a big move to try and come back, but couldn't get to him and gonna bring it home P4, but pretty good race here for everybody. Once we got that long green flag running, and speaking of that, we're gonna go back to that long green flag run here. That way I don't have to rotate during the interviews as much here, and we're going to give Greg Boydell a chance to come up to the waiting room. Looks like he is there, and we're going to pull up the 014 of Greg Boydell. Greg, you got a copy?
I do.
Hey, man, well, able to bring home P3 there. Got pretty exciting there in front of you on that with 2 restarts to go, but you got to take the free positions, right?
Yeah, it was pretty slick out there.
Yeah, you know, we haven't seen it this slick here at Lernerville in a long time, almost to the point where, Greg, you know, we saw guys like you and Terry. You had a lot of success on the bottom, you know. Guys couldn't really get that top rolling like you guys could. Were you working that brake, or were you lifting real early to get that thing to hook up?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I love that answer, Greg.
No, it was, yeah, you had to be on the brake a little bit because it was so slick. You couldn't just, and the gear that in these fixed setups is really, really high. So you can't just mat the gas and go. You got to tinker with the gas.
Well, you know, an up and down battle here for you, Greg. You know, tough track. You found your way to the bottom and you worked your way back up. Hell of a run. Good P3, man. Who you want to thank?
We want to thank you and Every Child Matters and Abandoned Cats Rescue, and thanks everyone that came out for that event, and Ohsweken Speedway.
Well, Greg, man, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do here at Charlotte. You got to be one of the early favorites here, so good luck, man.
Okay, thanks. Have a good night.
That's your P3 finisher, Greg Boydell, and now we're going to bring up Steve Bixler, the mayor here. Steve, well, you know, you probably didn't think there with 3 or 4 laps to go that you were going to get a P2, but sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good, right?
Oh, you said it, Shaggy, right there. Yeah, I didn't know what had happened. I knew Terry was running up front, and then I seen some guys down on the bottom, and I didn't know what had happened, like I said, and then all of a sudden I was running in second. So, like I said, I didn't know what had happened down there on that bottom on the backstretch.
Yeah, and, you know, sometimes it's better that you don't know what happened, you know. Just stay out of it, go around, and take those free spots when you can get them. But, you know, we saw you using that high side early on, Steve. Not many guys could run that outside like you and Dino. How tricky was it to run that thin cushion up there?
Well, there was more in 1 and 2 than there was in 3 and 4. I could get around 1 and 2 pretty good. And as a matter of fact, at one time I passed Boydell and Dean in 1 and 2 coming down the backstretch, but it was really thin in 3 and 4, and I had to kind of tiptoe it through there. So, no, that's where I was gaining ground, was on that high side in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and, you know, we're watching you here. You had to do the smart thing there. You were running down Greg and Dino, but you come up on lap traffic there early on. You got to lift out, and hopefully some guys take a note there, Steve, because sometimes, you know, you prove you lift out, you go to race another lap here, you got a bunch of them. You don't need to win there, and you come home with a P2. So great run tonight, man. You got to be happy with that. Good points night. Who do you want to thank?
Well, I got to thank, of course, Mauer Farm Management. They're our sponsor for the league, and he's been a longtime friend of mine, and he still beats me in golf every week. But good friend of mine there, and I got to thank him, and of course, Flatline Racing Bodies, and the Salty Dogs, and everybody that's connected with the league there. It takes a lot to put this on, and I got to thank you, Shaggy, for stepping up and doing the broadcast.
Well, I appreciate that, Steve. Hell of a job, man, and good luck here the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
That's P2, Steve Bixler, and now we're going to bring up a man who I told you was going to win this thing. You put him in anything with a wing. Now, I didn't know you were going to get it this way, Dino, but hey, you'll take it how you can get it, won't you?
Well, it was, we were talking in the Discord, and I just can't run the bottom here. And that 1 and 2 was so good down low. And Brian got me, and then Terry, oh my God, he was so fast down there. He got me, and then Jeff was coming, and I didn't know where to go, and I was just hanging on. And then all of a sudden, here comes Steven on the outside of me, coming out of 2 and going down the back straightaway. And I said, that's it. I'm going to slide him going into 3. I'm going to go up top, and I'm going to stay there because that's all I really know. I just like to run the top. And, I was catching him a little bit, but if that yellow didn't come out, I would have never got him. I might have got Jeff back for 3rd, maybe. But then when that yellow came out, I just said, yep, I'm going to go for broke. I'm going to go in the top of 1 and 2 and just let it sail and let it rip. And next thing I know, I see 2 yellow cars sideways on the inside. I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, just somebody getting a little overzealous there on a restart. But hey, sometimes you gotta take what's handed to you. And tonight, Dino, you're walking away with a win, man. Hell of a job. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
Oh, no, thank you. And it pays to be a little bit lucky, So
Amen.
that was that. Yeah. So I'll take any win, and even though I think it was those guys' race because they outdrove me and they really outdrove me, but we'll take the win. So, but I got to thank the guys from Full Throttle Motorsports. Always a great team. We're a modified team, but as you can see, Anthony's getting into some sprint car racing, and and I'm really, I don't know, still don't know what I'm doing with these sprint cars and why I'm getting some speed, but I'm not going to argue. And we gave her hell in Renegades last night and stuff. So, but with that help, I got to thank Patrick Spangler, because Spangler's always mentoring me and tutoring me and helping me out with these sprint cars and telling me what he's running and stuff. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be, half as fast as I am now. And Shaggy, I got to thank you for again doing the telecast for the retread guys. There were 17 here. That is really cool.
That's
cool.
the most we've ever had on a broadcast. I mentioned that it feels good, and hopefully I can get guys like, as well as I do, Dean. I mean, you don't have to be the best to be out here. This is about practice and just trying to get more guys out here. Really trying to talk my old man into getting out here and getting some practice, but he's being lazy.
Well, it's a great deal, and for some of these guys, it's the only race they're going to run, or then they'll go in asphalt and really show me up, because I tried to do that. But it's cool that you're doing it to give them time on the telecast. Yeah, I do use it for practice, but I'm also going to be 58 here in a couple of months, so I ain't no spring chicken. So God knows how long I got on the sim where I can have a little bit of speed. So I'm just going to take advantage of it when I can, and just keep on plugging away and learn. And that's what I do here. I learned, and I tell you what, I learned a lot today because Brian Sr., Terry Landis, and Jeff really schooled me, and I got to figure out what to do on the bottom, because you always can't use the top all the time. And when it gets thin like this, you never know when you're going to go over it, and I've done that. I've been on Marty's fall off count more than I want to be. But it was a lot of fun. And, thank you again for doing that. And, we're going to move on tomorrow and do some hometown heroes. And then Thursday we'll get behind the wheel of the 358 in the big block again, and we'll have some more fun with the league.
Well, hey, hell of a job, Dino. Congratulations, man. Looking forward to a lot more of these.
All right, Shaggy. Thanks so much for doing this again. Appreciate it.
That's Dean Reynolds there, your winner here this evening. And with that, we're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we will be back with, I believe, trucks. I know we're at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but I'm 99% certain it's the trucks we're in tonight. So stick around, and we'll be back with some trucks here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Be right back.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
Bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Right when we were talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
And we are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with Shaggy TV. And we are here at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Truck Series division. And got 15 guys right now. Gary Siegelkow, we saw him in the chat. He hasn't put a lap down yet, but Gary Siegelkow is here. So 15 trucks out here ready, and you got to think a couple of the favorites early on. Gary Siegelkow's got to be one of them. Terry Landis, Tim Chapman possibly, and Roger Craig for sure. Not based on lap time, but that guy, he just likes to ride around and Man, he is, they call him the Bass Man, but he's almost like a bass himself. Just sits there waiting to strike as soon as he sees that little shining trophy appear. And 63 is Shaker Gerdeman. He's at the top of the charts. He's found himself towards the front of some of our, we used to run more NASCAR divisions in this league a little bit. He would find himself towards the front of some of them, that's for sure. So going to be a guy you got to keep your eye on tonight. GJ Boydell, he's on pit road. Bill Calder, the only guy out there, but I think he's getting ready to bring it into pit road here. His drivers are possibly having a drivers meeting here and getting ready to roll. Or maybe not. Steve Maurer here, he pulls back out on the track. He'll give us a car to watch here, that 888. A nice view of all his sponsors. That's what happens, Steve. You're smart. You pull out on the track when no one else is there. You help out the broadcaster. Well, I help you out. There's sponsors put a little bit more money in your pocket here. Maybe they say, oh, Steve, I want my color to be this. I want that. Well, you get them to pay for a new wrap here. This is how you get it done. Let's go for a lap around Charlotte with Steve Maurer. See, maybe a little closer than he'd like to be to that white line. You shave a little bit of speed off. You heard him lose the rear end. When you're down that low, you got a little bit more wheel cranked into it. You want to get close to that white line, but maybe not that close. This is a pretty good 3 and 4 here. Looks good. As you see, it doesn't take very long. 30 seconds to do a lap around here at Charlotte. Hopefully we stay green flag, get some good long runs in here, but you see cars are going to do that here tonight. You get a little bit too much throttle coming off the corner, not willing to chirp that thing, and you're going to abuse those rear tires, and you're going to go around like we saw the 888 of Steve Maurer do there, but should be getting ready to roll into qualifying here, and the drivers are, let's see who comes out on the track first here. So you got a lot of drivers in the pits. None of them really leaving just yet. It's a race between Roger Craig and Roger Shank here, it looks like. Let's go with Roger Craig here for lap number 1. Roger Craig rolls down the backstretch. See him weave a little bit. Just try to get those tires a little bit warm. Now, you should go to the high side here in 3 and 4. Really get a handful of, a head of steam, but run that bottom there on cold tires. Gets a little bit loose here. What's the move? He's going to keep rolling. He's going to make this be his lap. Let's roll onto Greg Boydell here right now. He was the first person to the start-finish line, and he's got a lot of speed right now in that 014. Right now, everybody should be green, and/or there you see Greg do a quick purple, but Pat Boyce took that away there in the 41. Somebody just took that away from Pat Boyce here. See if we can't get that to roll on through here a little more. Mike Cramner. He takes the pole there with that quick time. Good lap there from the 70 of Mike Cramner. It's Greg Boydell now on his lap number 2. Quickest through sector 1. Just got that taken away, but should improve here overall. Purple sector 2. He takes quick time. Let's see if Mike Cramner can answer back. Slower through sector 2. He is not going to answer back. Shaker Gerdeman, though, he may. Let's see what this lap looks like. He moves on up the charts. P2, Tim Chapman puts in lap number 2. He comes on P7. Terry Landis parks it in the top 5. P4 with a good final lap. Let's see here. Not sure if they're going to have time to get their laps in. I don't know how long they waited, but right now Gary Sigelkow and Steve Maurer are on their first laps here. Let's see what Steve does. Steve's going to be last place right now out of guys who have put in times P13. Gary Sigelkow on that first lap, must have brushed the wall a little bit. iRacing didn't like it, didn't count it, invalidated lap. So let's watch Steve Maurer here. Let's watch him come across here. Steve Maurer, he does improve on his personal lap. Moves up to P5. Big improvement there for Steve Maurer. What's Gary Sigelkow do? Gary Sigelkow, P11, not going to be what he wants. That 25's got to feel he had a little bit more speed in that thing. But all in all, Steve Maurer in that 888, he is going to be happy with that improvement. Gary Sigelkow, I told you, broadcaster rule, he's the only one on the track. Well, look at you, Gary. To give that Venom Racing rig a nice little look here. I'm not sure if Isaac's the one who paints those or not, but does a pretty good job. Here's everybody who'll go use the restroom, do what they have to do here, and in a few short minutes we will be underway here. Green flag. 15 cars registered. If you're out there in the chat box, let us know who you're rooting for, who you got this evening. As we are going to get ready here to bring up the starting grid here for tonight's main event here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it's going to look a little something like this. Starting on the pole, the 014 of Greg Boydell, and his outside the 63 of Shaker Gerdeman. Mike Cramner rolls off on the inside of row number 2, and his outside the Desert Demon Terry Landis. Steve Maurer in the 888 rolls off on the inside of row number 3, and his outside Roger Shank. Steve Bixler rolls off P7 into his outside in the 37, Tim Chapman. Skipped a little bit there. Inside of row number 5, the Bassman Roger Craig into his outside, Greg Parmalee. Gary Sigelkow rolls off on the inside of row number 6, and his outside, the Librarian Pat Boyce. Inside of row number 7, JR, John Rayner in the 302, into his outside, Gary Offit. Bill Calder rounds out the field tonight in the 325. As we get ready to go green here, this time by Greg Boydell, will bring us to the start here. See you guys jumping, stopping, trying to get a little bit of heat in those tires. It's going to be a nerve-wracking turn 1 here, I would say. Good luck to the drivers. You just hope that you're not the guy who gets sideways in front of the field. Lord knows I have been that guy, and it is not any fun. As the pace car pulls off, 15 drivers get ready to play here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. As listen to the motors roar. Green flag in the air. We're underway. Get up to speed here pretty good. 2 by 2 by 2. Let's try to watch them race here. See if we can see anyone getting loose on any part. Going to move up a little bit. Watch this battle for the lead. Shaker Gerdeman there. He put the pressure on the outside, but Greg Boydell with a good run off of turn 2. He's able to solidify it. Now Mike Cramner here. He's looking to see if he can't find some room in the basement of 3 and 4. Shaker Gerdeman a little sideways on entry. He has a hiccup. Opens the door for Mike Cramner, who gets loose. He puts the 63 into the wall. Shaker Gerdeman with nowhere to go. And Finds himself with a quick wall tap. He doesn't look to be too bad, but man, that's not something you want to have happen to you this early. Back in the back here, Pat Boyce up 3 spots early in that 41, trying to make a quick move while he's got fresh tires. He's behind that 4 of Greg Parmalee, who's behind the 37 of Tim Chapman. Tim Chapman here with a little bit of a gap up to Steve Maurer, about 0.8 of a second. As Carr is sideways in the back, John Rayner, can he hang on to it? Can he hang on to it? Yes, he does. No caution. We keep racing. Greg Boydell, they go around the lap car of Bill Calder. Not too sure what happened to Bill early, but Bill slow on the inside. Everyone goes around. Greg Boydell trying to break that toe here. He's got the lead to about 3/4 of a second. Needs to get to that 1 second mark, that 1.1 second to really break that toe. Is right now you see Mike Cramner pulling him back by 0.03 of a second there going down the straightaway. That's gonna be his saving grace right now. The only thing really helping him out here. So let's watch the field drive into turn 3. You can see how far they're spread out here. Pat Boyce looking to make a move there in the back. Let's go check that out. He looked low in Gary Sigelkow. Thought best of it. Fell back up in line here. Getting a run on the outside is the Librarian. Trying to take that 25 to school here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But right now, class is out of session. It's late here on the East Coast. So Pat's got to figure something out. As right now, Terry Landis just ran the fastest lap of the race last time with a 29.9. Ooh, Terry gets a little sideways there coming out of 2. As you see the front 4 single file. Just trying to pull away from Roger Shank here. Is trying to lead that second pack back up into the battle here. Greg Boydell just setting the pace out front. We just realized something else here. Our overlay quit working here in the middle. That's my apologies. We are going to refresh this. I've got so much going on that I kind of don't notice it. I'm paying attention to the race, but we are going to get that tower back up and running here in no time, I promise you. As we'll just follow Greg and the front 4 around here while I try to go in, reset that setting. It was working great for us there in qualifying. Not too sure actually even at what moment it did disappear. So trying to get this back up and working here. May have to close SDK, reopen it. This is my apologies here, but right now you're watching it. Single file out front. We're going to reopen this here. I can't really change cameras while my controllers are gone. Let's move back through the field here as it wants to bring us up the overlay. We don't care about that. We go back up top here. It's Terry Landis as he tries to move his way on up through the field. And go in, try to find this overlay one more time here. And if we can't get this to work, well then Shaggy's kind of run out of Marty Sakala options. But nope, there we go. Closed it, got her fired back up. My apologies, we're rolling. Almost halfway here, 16 to go. Greg Boydell right now, you know, no cautions in this thing, has been able to just walk away. Has he spent the tires? Has he saved enough here? And, you know, you got to wonder, there's some guys back in the field. Here, Roger Shank, Terry Landis. I mean, have they, Tim Chapman here he comes. He's been a little quicker these past couple laps. Did they maybe wait too long to turn on the jets here? Because, I mean, seeing there Tim on the leaderboard, 3.8 behind the leader. Now he drops to 4. Just, you know, maybe pacing himself a little bit too much here early on. Is that 014? Man, is he fast here as we're up over the halfway point, coming to 14 to go. excuse me, we only did 25 laps here tonight. I was thinking 30, so just a lap or two shy here of the halfway point, but coming up here nonetheless. Let's mess around here. Let's see if we can find any battles going on in the track there. We saw Tim Chapman. He got a little loose there coming out of 4. He had just, I believe, or who is that? No, the 888 is Steve Maurer. He is a lap down. And Steve Maurer finds himself in the grass now. He's going to pull in the infield. He's going to call it quits. He's had enough. Tim Chapman here looks low on Terry Landis. Now this is where, you know, guys who have saved tires, they're starting to come up a little bit. I mentioned Roger. I mentioned Tim. I thought Terry was one of those guys who saved tires. I forgot he had been up there early mixing up. He had run the fastest lap of the race. They may have burnt their stuff up, and well, now, anxious to see. Let's look. There's Roger Shank. There's our leader, Greg Boydell. So Roger has 3.8 to get to the leader. And if this thing stays green, that is not enough time to make that up. Is right now Shaker Gerdeman in a distant 3rd place. We're going to go to Mike Cramner here. We're going to bring up the lap times here of the top 3. We're going to see who's been faster. So it's virtually been Greg Boydell, the fastest man on the track there out of the top 3. Now, if we'd roll back to Shaker Gerdeman, there you see Shank coming. You know, he's the .279 faster. I mean, that's, you know, times that by 5, make up about a second every 4.5 laps. So I mean, that's not going to be enough. I mean, he'd have to really, amp it up. And by the time you drive it that hard, you're going to lose your tire disadvantage. So this is where, you know, it's a fine line there at the beginning. You don't want to burn it up too much, but you don't want to let the guy walk away, or you get a case of this. Is Greg Boydell dominating the show here. I told you after the dirt when we interviewed him there, in his 3rd place, he had to be one of the favorites coming in. Starts up front, sets the pace, looks to the outside of Bill Calder. Bill Calder, lap car gets a little loose there, and, well, Mike Cramner, he's smiling like a butcher's dog there in 2nd. He's reeling him in, caught him 3, maybe 4 tenths this lap here. As Mike Cramner, now he overdrives 1 and 2, while Greg Boydell sticks it on the bottom, and Boydell gets all that gap right back to 6 tenths of a second. Battle for 3rd, heating up though. That final podium spot, Roger Shank in that green and white and gray machine. He has run down that 63 here with 8 to go. Tim Chapman in the wall right behind them. He's coming too. You got to hope that didn't affect the car that bad if you're Tim here, but looking to get by the 63. This is the only battle we really have on track now. Drivers have kind of gone single file. Roger Shank looks to the inside through 1 and 2 as they come down, or come out of 2, get ready to come down the backstretch. We'll have to see. Tuck's back up in line. Probably the best move right now if you weren't going to get the move done. As out front, you look at that leaderboard. That lead has increased to 1.4 seconds here by the time I finish talking, and Greg Boydell is off to the races out front. Tim Chapman, you saw him kind of pulling these 2 guys in, but after that wall tap, maybe has stalled out a little bit here as that 37. Even though they're battling in front of him, not able to really run them down here is getting ready. Greg Boydell crosses the charity stripe here 5 more times around. Oh, is Roger Shank finally able to get that pass done coming off of 4 as he takes that final podium spot. Shaker Gerdeman going to give it one last big run here into 1 and 2. Overdrives the entry a little bit. Let's see if he can get a run off, getting a little bit of draft here. Can he make a move? He looks low going into 3. Shaker's going to try to hold that bottom. He pushes up, just no grip in that right front. And he's going to have to watch that podium position sail away here. As you got to think maybe he used all his stuff up early here. As Roger Shank, he's cracking the whip, trying to go after second here. Mike Cramner. Let's find the leader, Greg Boydell. He's middle of 3 there. You see these gaps. Front 3 pretty sped out. Bill Calder here getting the wheels under that thing. He's trying to get race his way up, get a lap back as the 325 of Bill Calder gets a little sideways, gets into the 63 of Shaker. Gerdeman, watch out. Tim Chapman, as he gets into the wall, he gets involved. And man, oh man, Tim, he may not be happy with that, but Shaker, he's going to be more upset. And at the end of the day, that's a case of, dang, that's tough. You feel bad for Shaker. Bill's trying to get out of the way. He gets a little bit loose there, gets into the grass. And let's see if we can't go find Bill here. So we want to find... Did we go back a little too far here? No, there we go. Didn't go back far enough. So we want to go back a little further than that. See Bill, he just comes up off the grass, gets into the back of the 63, and this is where I'm yelling to Tim. This is where, we're going to hop on board. This is where, obviously it's easier to sit up here, but going back, we're going to go find this again. Tim, we're going to go sit in the cockpit. This is where, right here, you lift. You really do. You have to. You got to be in the brakes. You got to see it coming. And it's tough. You feel for him, but that's where, after you have this happen to you a couple times, you got to have that spidey sense, and you just got to realize guys are on old tires. You see a guy going down low. Something bad's going to happen, and, you just got to prepare for it. But now Terry Landis out front. Did he... So Terry Landis... Wait, this can't be right. This can't. It's telling me, did Terry not hit with the field here? Oh, Terry's not the leader. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Our SDK software needed to refresh. That's a little better here. Greg Boydell still out front. Now, this is where this is going to get real interesting. So let's find it here. The 302 of John Rayner. This is the last car on old tires. Steve Bixler here in 75. He coming in pit. He got new tires. Now, that's the move, I think. A lot of guys to get here, but if you're Steve, you got to hang it on the outside. You got to put your you-know-what in the wheelbarrow and just, really go after it. Just let him hang out the side window and go after it here, Steve. You got to take advantage of these new tires. If you're Tim Chapman, same thing in that 37. You suffered. It's with someone else's their misfortune turned into your own, and you got to just try to turn this into a positive here. You get as many guys as you can. Make sure you're not involved in the wreck here if there is one. And, well, if there is one, we'll have one more attempt at a green-white checkered. So just got to keep your head on straight and go to work. And if you're Greg Boydell, you just got to keep doing what you're doing. Everybody else's tires will even up to you a little bit here as they cool down, but not to the extent that he should have. He still had that pace. As long as he didn't let them cool off too much, kept a little bit of heat in him. That 014, he's going to be tough to tame here. You got to think, too, Roger Shank now. talked about him earlier, moving up through the field there. He had saved those tires. Well, now Roger Shank, he's caught up to that 70 of Mike Cramner, and I just realized, hey, lights are off, but it doesn't look like we're going double file here. No, we are going back green here. Single file restart. First restart of the night here. And Greg Boydell controls it. Takes his time and brings us back to the green flag. Cars on old tires spinning all around. And now here, that's where I told you, if you're the mayor, you got to go up high. You got to try to take advantage. He goes in the middle. Guys are in the wall. Gary Sigelkow gets into him. Steve Bixler there, that first man on the new tires. Ripping the outside, Shaker Gerderman and new tires as well. But let's go back up front here. Greg Boydell with a great restart. Mike Cramner pretty close there in second. We hear guys spinning out. Caution is out on the racetrack, and we are going to have a green-white checkered. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here. There we go. So the 302, that's enough for a caution because he's sideways, but what a save for John Rayner in the 302. Let's look at this one more time. We're going to jump right into the cockpit. Look at him. Crank that wheel to the right. Look at JR go. Doesn't get into any other cars. Keeps that thing going, and what a save, JR. But now, you know, even more advantage here to Steve and Bixler, that first guy on new tires. If this thing can stay green, he's got two laps here to go make a run. So let's see here. Pat Boyce still hasn't pitted, so as SDK cycles through here, we'll see really where everyone's at. Is now Steve Bixler moves him back to 7th. Tim Chapman behind him. They're the first two on. Well, everyone behind them has new tires, really. Everyone behind Pat. So you got to think that's probably enough of a buffer there for Greg Boydell to hold on to this win. But if you're Roger Shank, if you don't get a good restart here again and you come into the, you can't battle with Mike. I think he's got better tires, but it's all about this restart. He's got to get a good jump. You know, he could be in trouble here. His guys on new tires only about 3 spots behind him, so gonna have to nail this restart. Can't mess up like he did the last one here. The lights are still on the pace car, as you see. I think they'll click off here as we roll by the charity stripe here and go around one more time. And when Greg Boydell comes back to that Geico restart zone the next time, we will be going back racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Another single file restart here. I know sometimes they make it single file with intent to go, but normally here in the asphalt stuff, it's, double file restarts. So a little shocked to see it go single file, as the double file would have been a huge benefit to those guys on new tires. Final time down the backstretch here, and if I do believe, I don't know if the first one was a real green-white checkered or if, it was the first of 2 overtimes. I know they get 2 attempts, so we'll have to see here if this is the second and final attempt. I believe it is. So the next flag, if it's not the checkered, will end the race. As Greg Boydell enters that Geico restart zone, and he brings us back to the green flag here once again. Tough restart for P4 there, Greg Parmalee, as you see huge gap, and man, that's going to devastate Roger. He maybe had dreams of going for that podium, but right now, tough deal as we're going to watch the battle out front. Mike Cramner giving it a run going down the backstretch here. And if he could make this pass and a caution come out, he would be the winner here as Greg Boydell going to back up the corner, try to counter down, but white flag in the air, so this is going to be the final lap. Hold on to your pants. As guys going around in the back, Tim Chapman must have been involved with something. We see him dropping. Steve Bixler clearly involved, but right now we are going to watch this battle up front as these two, who you got here going into 3 and 4 final time. Greg Boydell looking to the bottom. Mike Cramner going to protect that outside. Greg Boydell looking for a big run as we come to the stripe. Mike Cramner edges out Greg Boydell. You see that finish? Man, oh man. Woo. You know what that means. I hate doing this. Gosh, I hate doing this, but well, we got to bring up iRacing here. We got to bring up our little friend. We got to change cameras. And we are going to have to pause this here as we get close to the line. I would love to see a side view of this. And we are going to get it. Got to bring up iRacing here. And let's frame this. I mean, that's the distance there. That's what did it. I mean, that's right before the start-finish line. What a finish. Mike Cramner on that final green-white checkered attempt steals the win here in the Coast to Coast Racing League. My, oh my. One more time, we'll watch it roll up here. That camera should save here for us, and we'll watch it. There we go. As you see Greg Boydell, he got a good run off the corner. Here he comes, coming to the line. He thinks he's going to get it. I think I can. And Mike Cramner just holds on long enough. If that finish line is another 200, even 100 feet, further, we got a different winner, but Mike Cramner able to hold on and get it done here in the Coast to Coast Racing League. Steals it with 2 to go and holds on that final lap. But let's give these guys a minute or two to catch their breath here, and we'll see if we can't pull them up in the booth. As Roger Shank here, we'll pull him up. And Roger, Shaggy up here in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got a copy, Shaggy.
Well, hey, man, able to bring home P3. It seemed there, you kind of took it easy in the beginning, maybe thinking it was going to be long green flag run. And, well, you had some tires left, but it just seemed those restarts were killing you there at the end.
Yeah, this oval racing, dirt and pavement isn't my thing. I normally do more endurance stuff, and that's why I joined the Coast to Coast this season. I came across one of your podcasts and thought, well, maybe I'll get some more experience on dirt and oval, so here I am.
Well, nice to know we got a new endurance guy. What kind of, just to pick your brain a little bit, what kind of stuff do you like to do in that area? There's actually a good bit of us who team up together to run a lot of those things in here.
Well, my favorite thing to do is the Green Hell, the 4-hour races, and I usually do them solo. I used to race desert racing in real life, and doing those races solo reminds me the closest thing iRacing has to off-road desert racing.
Oh, hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Well, it's good to have another real life driver here in the group. And Roger, you drove your way up clean. First race here, finished P3, man. Got to be happy with that. Who do you want to thank?
Well, I got to thank my sister Rhonda for watching.
Oh, yeah,
my
your sister's
grandkid.
rooting for you. I actually just looked over in the chat box.
Yeah, she always watches these when she can. My team, Mad Sim Racing, and Alien Awards. And my wife for letting me have this hobby, and you guys for broadcasting it.
Of course, man. And yeah, don't ever forget that wife. You got to have that one on the list. Happy wife, happy life. But congratulations, Roger, man, and look forward to doing a lot more of these with you this season.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun.
That's your P3 finisher, Roger Shank. And now we're going to bring up the man who, kind of got his heart broken there at the end, Greg Boydell. What a finish, but man, just not enough. Talk us through that final restart.
It wasn't just the restart. It was the truck was starting to push a bit. So I was just talking to Mike, and I said I didn't want to take a chance and wreck us both. So that's okay. I'd rather have 0 incident points and finish second than take us both out and do something stupid.
Well, you've run these for points here before, Greg, and at the end of the day, that's the smart move, man. Make sure you finish on that podium, and maybe it's not that spot you wanted, but man, you came ever so close. You could taste it, and you're going to get a couple this year.
Yeah, and that's okay. Mike raced me clean, and what was it, 5,000ths of a second he beat me by? So, can't get any closer, right?
No, I mean, it's tough to beat that type of finish, you guys. A lot of cautions there in the dirt. Only one out here. Were you anticipating that long green flag run in the beginning, or did maybe that catch you guys by surprise a little bit?
Actually it did. I did not expect to go 21, 22 laps without a caution. But I was okay with that. It gives you a chance to get into a rhythm, obviously, and I'm better when I'm in that rhythm.
Yeah, man, it's nice to get that feel, get that comfort, and learn your line. And Greg, you gave us a hell of a finish, man. 2 podiums tonight. Great night here on Tuesday night. Who you want to thank?
I want to thank you and all the volunteers at C2C, and I got to thank Jeff Barker. We found something funny in my system last night, sound, and it made a world of difference after the dirt race last night. Every child matters, abandoned cat rescue. Yeah, so that's about it.
Well, hey, hell of a job here, Greg, and looking forward to a lot more of these, my man.
Yep. Looks like we're going to have a good season, and kudos to everybody for coming out. We had, I think both races were our highest car counts that I've ever seen.
Yeah, hell of a turnout, man. Hopefully these broadcasts keep getting the word out there. Maybe we can get that up to those Monday night numbers. What do you say here, Greg?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're already beating a few of the classes, but I guess we're all getting a little older, Zach.
Yeah, amen, man. Father Time catches up with all of us, but hell of a job here, Greg. We're going to... cat got my tongue there, but we're going to kick you out of here. We're going to pull up Mike, but hell of a job, man.
Yep, thanks again. Have a good night.
And that is your P2 finisher, Greg Boydell. I'm going to clear my throat. Much better here, and we are going to bring up the man who stole the show there at the end, Mike. On that first green-white checkered attempt, it didn't really look like you got the restart you wanted, man, but on that final go-around, what a jump, and you went to work.
Yeah, Tim, for the first restart, I kind of spun the tires on the start. I think everybody did, and Boydell got quite the jump on me, and he actually had not the cautions come out, he probably would have won that race. He was second ahead, and I wasn't catching him. So just got lucky with the caution and just able to get around him right there at the end.
Yeah, we're watching your move here through 1 and 2. And did you set him up on purpose like that, Mike? Did you drive up top so you could drive under him there in 1 and 2? Because, I mean, dude, that's textbook right there. That was a hell of a move.
Yeah, I was kind of running hot through 1 and 2, just trying to save some tires. And I figured later on in the race that would pay off, and I would get a real good run down the hill there. So, and he kind of hung low and just give me an opportunity to get inside of him on the backstretch.
Well, hey, Mike, dude, congratulations. Start off the season with a win here. So current points leader, got to feel good, man. Hopefully you can carry the momentum the rest of the way. But who you want to thank, Mike?
I definitely want to thank Mauer Farm Management for the sponsorship here. Definitely appreciate all they do getting these races on. Everybody at Coast to Coast and all the admins and everybody that does the reviews, everybody that does the work there. Epsilon Sprint Reps, and definitely all the guys, Salty Dog guys. They're very encouraging and great bunch of guys to run with.
Well, man, great race here tonight. One caution, and you stole it there at the end. Hell of a job, Mike. Congratulations.
Thank you, Shaggy, and definitely appreciate your broadcast. Love watching them, and you do a great job with that, and definitely appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Mike. Congratulations. And that is your winner here, Mike Cramner. Man, Mike ticks all the boxes there. Just saved his tires, made that move at the end here, got a little maybe aggressive into 3 and 4, trying to protect, overdrove a little bit, but man, had just enough momentum to take it at the line here as you see the checkered flag flying. And Mike Cranmer wins by 5 thousandths of a second here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That is going to wrap up Old Timers Tuesday. Big shout out to Mauer Farm Management on the sponsor this season. Couldn't have the broadcast, couldn't do this stuff without you. Huge shout out to Roger Craig, Jeff Barker, Patrick Spangler, all the other admins that keep the show on the road. Couldn't do it without you guys. I am Zach Chapman here with Shaggy TV, signing off. Have a good evening. We'll be back tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, with Hometown Heroes.